I told him I was going to do it, I'll do it.
Only one other undercover agent in history has walked in his shoes, played a role to such perfection as to be offered the Mafia's most sacred blessing.
I am the second law enforcement officer ever to be proposed for membership into La Cosa Nostra.
This is a friend of mine. That means you're a connected guy.
The first, immortalized in the movie Donnie Brasco, tells the tale of FBI agent Joe Pistone, who infiltrated the Bonanno crime family back in the mid-1970s.
We got surveillance photographs.
Now, for the first time on television, a modern-day Brasco who still works undercover tells CBS News how he convinced the notorious Gambino crime family he was one of their own.
You're always afraid for your life, and when you work undercover, and anybody who tells you otherwise is lying. I mean, things could turn like this.
His riveting story begins as Jack Garcia, a Cuban-born immigrant turned FBI undercover agent with a gift for creating characters. From a drug lord to small-time mobsters over 20 years.
So I would come in and say, look, I got a score, I got some television sets.
Then he went big game hunting after the Gambinos, posing as Jack Falcone, a Miami wise guy.
Jack Falcone was a knock-around guy from Florida who was a jewel thief, he was a hijacker, but he kind of was an individual that was surrounded in Miami by the Cuban culture.
It was the spring of 2003 when Jack Falcone, a.k.a. Jackie Boy, caught the eye of Gambino capo Greg DePalma, who controlled loan sharking, gambling, and construction rackets in and around New York.
He wanted me because I was an earner. You're not a broken-down garbage can. You're a guy who makes money, and that's what the mob is all about.
Falcone eventually earned De Palma's trust by offering an endless supply of stolen goods, like Rolex watches, cigarettes, and televisions, all provided by the FBI.
Jack, there has to be a moment when the door opens and you realize, I am in.
I remember that day distinctively. I met with him, at which time he presented me with a beautiful diamond pinky ring. And he told me how he put me on record with the Gambino crime family. You're under our umbrella.
Wearing a court-authorized wire, over the next 2 years, Falcone secretly recorded De Palma and other bosses concocting money-making schemes at restaurants, diners, even this Jewish geriatric center, the FBI monitoring almost every meeting. In a scene straight out of Hollywood, at one point Falcone was called upon to talk to a made man not paying the proper respect to De Palma. The meeting took place in this Bloomingdale's in the houseware section. Things turned ugly. Falcone says he watched a mob soldier pick up a solid glass candlestick and bash the guy over the head.
In the houseware section.
In the houseware, grabs him, hits him right over the head, cracks his head open, you hear like a melon breaking.
In March of 2005, the FBI swooped in and arrested De Palma, his bosses Arnold Squitieri and Anthony the Genius McGalley, along with dozens of underlings, essentially decapitating the family. All pleaded guilty except De Palma, who insisted on going to trial, where before his eyes, his Jackie Boy turned into FBI agent Jack Garcia, putting De Palma behind bars for 12 years.
Describe the look on De Palma's face as he's staring at you when you're up on that witness stand.
It was like if he could just get his hands around my neck.
Are you worried that Greg De Palma wants to put you in the ground?
What the Bureau did, and this is what's was great, is they went out and they spoke to all the heads of all the 5 families, and they told them that if anything is to happen to Jack Falcone, the reign of terror will fall upon them.
Even if the mob chose to ignore the threat and challenge the FBI, this agent has now assumed another identity in a whole other underworld. Armin Katayan, CBS News,